Here are three things you need to know on this Tuesday morning. President Joe Biden plans to meet with Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell today as inflation readings continue to be as hot as that summer sand you wish you were on right now. The White House says the two will discuss the state of the economy both here and abroad. This after Fed Governor Christopher Waller said Monday he is prepared to take interest rates past neutral to combat inflation. Joining us to discuss this further is Yahoo Finance's resident Fed watcher, Mr. Brian Cheung. Brian, lots of inflation talk here this morning, but really I would say Waller's comments might be spooking futures here on the early going.
Yeah, well, I was busy on Memorial Day listening into some Fed speak. Fed Governor Christopher Waller speaking in Europe about his view on the economic outlook. A lot of interesting commentary coming from one of the more high-profile governors at the Federal Reserve Board. He's someone who has been perceived to be a bit more of a hawk compared to his colleagues, but he was saying essentially yesterday that he feels like higher rates need to be part of the story and that 50 basis point moves should not only be on the table for June and July, but for as long as it takes to get inflation closer to the Fed's 2% target. So very much a completely different story than what we heard from the Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic last week, who had markets up in a tizzy when he suggested that maybe the Federal Reserve could take a pause after those next two 50 basis point moves in that September meeting. But again, the Fed Governor Christopher Waller saying at least yesterday, foot's on the gas pedal until we start to see inflation get back down to 2%.
Also, interestingly on the topic, we heard from President Joe Biden via an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal and saying, I won't meddle with the Fed, but I will tackle high prices while guiding the economy's transition to stable and steady growth. He is still set to meet with Fed Chair Jerome Powell. And so break that down for us and, how normal or abnormal this is, actually.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of kind of chatter about the meeting that's on the calendar today, later this afternoon, about 1 p.m. or so for Fed Chair Jay Powell to physically visit the White House and meet with President Joe Biden. He spoke about exactly what he is hoping to discuss with the president, or rather with the Fed Chair through a White House readout yesterday that said inflation is going to be the main point of conversation. No surprise on that front, but it comes alongside this op-ed that you mentioned from the Washington Post where the Fed chair was part of the conversation. I want to read you an excerpt from that op-ed published this morning. Quote, my predecessor, referring obviously to President Trump, demeaned the Fed, and past presidents have sought to influence its decisions inappropriately during periods of elevated inflation. I won't do this. Now, keep in mind that the situation that we face now is a little bit different than it was with President Trump from the perspective that really the last president was trying to coerce and maybe perhaps try to influence the Fed chair into doing something that he wanted, which was at the time of the U.S.-China trade spat, lowering and slashing interest rates, which the Fed did end up doing, to be fair. This is a situation where the Fed is already on the path to what the White House would want to see anyway, which is raising rates to try to lower the demand, get inflation down under control. The Fed already having 75 basis points of hikes so far this year, with an intention, as the Waller comments yesterday underscore, for further rate hikes. So this might be a little bit more of a photo op. Will be cameras in the room, although the meeting itself will not be publicized. But again, just kind of very interesting optics from the White House, especially when you consider that K-pop boy band BTS will be appearing shortly after the Fed chair.
Well, maybe BTS has a better idea than tackling inflation than President Biden. Because I got sucked in by this headline. I thought he was going to give three strong reasons on how he's bringing down inflation. I saw none of it. And I would point to the bottom here where the president is suggesting, quote, common sense reforms on the tax code. And this points, I think, to what the beef between Jeff Bezos and the president about 2 weeks ago on Twitter played out. How is raising taxes going to help bring down inflation and help this economy?
Oh, well, certainly. I mean, that's something that a lot of people will be thinking about, especially ahead of the midterms. How could it possibly be the case that if you're going to raise taxes, that's going to solve the price pressures that Americans are feeling at the stores on a daily basis? It's something that you don't need to look at PCE or CPI to really get a handle on. Now, for what it's worth, the president said in his op-ed that it's not necessarily just tax policies, but wanting to really trust the Federal Reserve on that front because they do have a responsibility on aggregate prices. But we have to keep in mind that it's not all monetary policy officials that have power in being able to take prices down, especially when you consider the nuances of what we're facing in this economy. A lot of the price increases that we're experiencing across the board are not just the cost of putting gasoline into your car, but it's the ripple effects of all the other energy prices into the shipping costs that get a couch to your Target or a dozen eggs to your supermarket. So All of those things are things that the Biden administration could do. We know that they've used the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We know that they've tried to address those energy issues. But look, there's a lot of drills that are not turned on in this country. That's something the Federal Reserve can't address. That is something that the White House can
Maybe these
address.
higher taxes will be helpful.
Well, that's not something I'm not sure Jay Powell would want to bite on. But yes, it seems like, again.
Oh, Julie Hyman, I can just feel her just shaking her head at me right now. I know she's watching.
We know Sozzi has already stopped buying his eggs as well.
Exactly. Yeah, hey, 10% up, right?
I should start stocking them up now before those taxes go up.
Oh, my gosh.
Brian Cheung joining us here this morning. Thanks so much, Brian, for the breakdown. Appreciate it.